Welcome, Drink with James, episode 99. We are one away from the big 100. Tim and I are just scheming on what we should be doing for that. I would ask y'all to say, what do you think we should do for the 100th episode? But you're going to say something crazy, and then we're not going to be able to execute on it in a week, and then we're just going to do what we're going to do. So, I'm not going to ask that question. What else has been happening in my life, you ask? Well, funny, you should ask. I had a birthday on Sunday, as you may have seen from any of my 4 parties that I had. I wouldn't say I had parties, but I celebrated on a few different occasions. Once with a lady, once with my friends, and then my mom came to town and we had a barbecue celebrating, and then I had a party with 150 of my closest friends, colleagues, and clients. And I think 4 celebrations is an appropriate amount for a birthday. I think anyone that does more than 4, bit of a diva, but I think 4 is a perfectly acceptable amount of times to celebrate your birth. It's a pretty momentous occasion, especially for me. Quite important day in my life, so I feel like if I'm important to the people who are in my life, that there's no reason we shouldn't celebrate that day 4 times. So, I'm sure you guys saw on Instagram the black tie birthday party we had. It was very chic. Everybody looked great. There was some dancing. There was probably a little bit, well, let's just say I woke up, didn't feel great the next morning. But you know what? The team was all here. We were maybe 30 minutes late. There was a incredible array of fast food and just greasy food that was ordered and eaten. So it was interesting to see on days when you have 20 people hungover at the same time, just everybody's habits on kind of how you get through that. I have to officiate a wedding this week. I'm going to Sleepy Hollow on Friday. One of my dear friends from college is getting married and has somehow, for some reason, asked me to officiate her wedding. So a few weeks ago, I got ordained, and which is the second time I've done this. This is not the first time I've officiated a wedding. Obviously, I'm not a child. I've done this before, but I got ordained. I'm going to be marrying them. I understand that it's the bride's day, but it's also kind of my day. So I'm very excited about that. I do get to give a little talk of some sort. I'm great at toasts. Let's just call a spade. And so essentially I just will give a toast, but without alcohol. At the end of the toast, they get married. They don't take a drink. I think that's the real big difference for me. Have I written it? No, I absolutely have not written it. Don't tell Jess, the bride. I haven't started. But we'll get there. I didn't write my birthday toast until 20 minutes before I left the apartment. And it only took me 5 minutes, so this is not gonna be hard. It's just the most important day of their life. It should be a fucking breeze. I think I'm gonna be fine. Question number 1 is, I've been accepting product essentially as payment for a while, but when they're doing the outbound pitch, when they're pitching a brand, they're struggling to know how to ask for payment, struggling on pitching brands and getting money. First of all, you have to get over feeling weird about asking for money. You will never be a good salesperson if you do not ask for the sale. I worked on Wall Street, my first job. It was a fucking nightmare. I hated every day of my life. In our sales training, that was the very first thing they talked about was asking for the sale and then shutting up. You ask for the money and then you don't talk. First person to talk loses, essentially, in negotiations. But it was really uncomfortable, but you do get used to being okay, so are you going to buy? Are you going to pay? This is what I want. So a lot of times, even when I've been pitched by influencers or by artists or any number of salespeople, whatever it might be, they tell you all this, this is what I can do this, I can do that, I can do this. What do you think? It's just what do I think about what? About what you do? Or you didn't ask me for anything? So you have to implicitly ask. Now, When do you ask is another question. Should you ask a brand to pay you in the first email that you send them? I would say no. We often, I know I harp on this a lot, but we talk about the sales process, and it says relationship, validation, opportunity, execution. That's kind of the process of a sale. So your cold email, you're trying to get a relationship with them, right? And they don't know who you are yet. So you need to validate yourself. You need to try and build a relationship with them. You need to try and do something before you ask them for money. One good way to get over that is again, reach out to the brand, do the shop for product, do the post for product the first time, send them an email afterwards. This is what I did. My audience loved it. I got 20 DMs about it. I got this, blah, blah, blah. Hope you liked it. Engagement was great, etc. You can use the photos, whatever. And then would love to work with you moving forward on a paid basis. Do you have any projects coming up? Is there anything I can help you with? How can we kind of formalize this relationship, because I love the brand. So if you initially feel awkward asking for the sale, you can kind of ask for the mini sale, which is give me some product, knock it out of the park, get that validation, reach back out to the brand and say, okay, now I've done a really good job. How about you pay me? I know there's a lot of advice floating out there. Don't do anything for free. You're worth a lot, blah, blah, blah. Obviously, if you watch this show, I don't really agree with that. Not that you guys aren't worth anything. It's just most people aren't as special or valuable as they think they are. And you have to hustle to get what you want, And these brands, there's 1,000 influencers a week signing up for 4. Think how many people are out there. And so you have to validate yourself if you're going to get money. Now, if you have 500,000 followers and you've worked with every brand in the world, that validation is taken care of. If you have 5,000 followers and no one's ever heard of you, you have to work a little harder. So, 2 lessons. In short, in conclusion, is that you have to get comfortable asking for the sale. Force yourself when you meet with somebody. Let me step back. Yeah, here's a good exercise. Next time you meet with a brand, let's say it's a coffee meeting, let's say it's a phone call, just ask them for something. Explicitly ask them for something. Doesn't matter if it's product, if it's an invite to their next event, or payment for a post. Ask them for something. Get comfortable with asking for the sale. Next, understand where you are in that process and if you need to validate yourself before you ask for money. Asking for money too early can ruin a relationship, just because people will be like, I don't even know you, I'm not paying you. So. Question number 2, what should a brand do if an influencer has agreed to work with you and takes forever to respond? This is for my brand friends. Hello, brand people. I know some of y'all watch this show. I appreciate it. If you haven't given us any money yet, please feel free to. James@4.co. Drop me a line. I'll send you an invoice. We'll formalize this relationship. You see, I'm asking for the sale. This is not hard, people. Now, my brand friends, what should you do if an influencer's agreed to work with you and they take forever to respond? I would say, don't work with them. So, that's a very short answer. Let's play this out a little bit. Let's say you have a contract, you've sent them product, and they have done one of their posts and they have another one, and then you can't get in touch with them. That gets a little more difficult. If you're in the middle of a campaign with them and they have completed some deliverables but not others, I would certainly, continue reaching out, try them on DM, all of this. I'm sure this is not news to you at all. Obviously, if they have an agency, it's a little easier to push on their agent and try and, tell them that you're going to back out of the contract if you don't get a response. If you've agreed to work with someone, you haven't started working with them, and then they stop responding, I honestly would send the email saying hey, we're not going to be able to continue this working relationship if you can't keep up the communication, and kind of have that threat of pulling it and see if it changes their behavior. We have influencers that we really like their content that we do not work with anymore because they are so slow to respond to emails. It's something that we make a note of in the back end of our site, and so it's definitely a problem. For my influencers that are watching this, like, what the fuck? Answer the emails. We've said this before, but like, if you are working with a brand and they're in an official capacity, I'm saying gifting, you've agreed to gifting and posting on a certain day or a paid opportunity. If you're working with that brand, same working day, you need to respond to an email. If they email you at 10 a.m., you need to reply by the end of day business their time. If they email you at 9 p.m., make sure you get them by 6 p.m. the next day. Absolutely, anything beyond that, it is not really excusable. Figure out a way to manage your inbox. People much busier than you have figured out how to use fucking email. So like, just, concentrate on it, put your mind to it. I know you can figure out how to use that inbox. You might be saying to yourself, wow, James sounds fairly patronizing right now. And you know what? I'm sorry, I know I am, but here's the thing. I've done 99 episodes of this show. There's been a lot of advice. This is a huge killer of influencers' careers. And it is so easy. I understand the inboxes are a lot. If the inbox is too much for you to handle, then you need to figure out a way to handle it. You can't just be like, well, my inbox sucks. What am I supposed to do? There are courses you can take, there are blogs you can read, there's things you can do about organizing a busy inbox and how to handle that. And I understand I don't want to be attached to my inbox or chained to it. But it's like, you are in client services, and when somebody is paying you for something, you work for that fucking person. That person is your boss. So you need to respond to those emails, because unlike you, who is living as an entrepreneur and just off doing your own thing and you don't really have to answer to anyone, they probably have their boss emailing them every hour or two. Have they gotten back? Have they gotten back? Why the fuck haven't they gotten back? I thought you said this person was going to be great. You said we should work with them. Now they're not responding. What are we going to do? This post is supposed to go live tomorrow. We have to change the copy. They're not responding. Influencers, you put your brand partners in a very difficult position if you don't answer your emails. So my aside, which I'm about to finish, is just answer your fucking emails. And if you can't do it, hire somebody to do it. End of story. If you can't get to your emails in 24 hours, hire somebody. So, next. Back to brands. Not next questions, but back to brands. We are ruthless about this. We just don't work with people that don't answer their email. It's just not worth it. One influencer in a campaign of 20 or 50 or 100, that one person is not valuable enough to potentially derail the entire campaign. Because again, influencers, what you need to understand is that your shitty email behavior could be the thing that the brand remembers from the whole campaign. Of just working with influencers was kind of annoying. I don't think we'll do it again. So for us, it is just not worth. It doesn't matter how good the content is. It doesn't matter how engaged your audience is. It's not worth jeopardizing our brand relationships if you can't figure out how to answer your email. So I encourage my brand friends out there, if somebody is lax on the email, to just move on and blacklist them and never work with them again. Last question. It actually plays in nicely to the first question. So this is question number 3 for those counting at home. Question number 3 is, what's the best subject line in the cold email when reaching out for the first time? So we're gonna talk process a little bit real quick again. The point of a subject line is what? Is it to let the person who get the email know what that email is going to be about? Absolutely not. That is not the point. The point of a subject line is to get the person to click on the fucking email. And then the point of the email is to try and get a meeting. And then the point of the meeting is to try and close a sale. So, subject line, all we need them to do is open it. Now, I don't think you should use, if you type in best subject line for cold sales emails, there's 400 blog posts about this. Some of them work. We used an email for years that the subject line was trying to connect, and we would send it to someone and say, hey, we're trying to find the person that handles influencer marketing. Took a stab in the dark that was you. If so, would love to talk. If not, could you forward me to the right person? That email worked fairly well. I wrote a blog post about it. I started seeing it more and more. I think I saw it on a few sales blogs as well. It wasn't just me that came up with this. But then everyone started using that subject line and it stopped working. So now, we try and in cold emails, just try and change it up. Try and use something that feels natural to you. Be funny. Make it feel personal. Make it feel like, like you. Any subject line that I give you is not going to be super effective because, 500 people might start using it, and then brand people are going to get the same subject line and be like, oh, fucking James's subject line in my inbox again. But two, the point of the email eventually is the end result is that they should want to work with you. Well, show your personality a little bit. Who are you? Why should you open it? Create some intrigue. I find that, most people open their emails, work emails. You're as an influencer, it's coming from your personal email. This isn't going to go to promotions or anything like that, so the chance of a mass delete are pretty low. So I think they're going to at least open the email. But the subject line gives you a way to try and be kind of memorable, try and do something interesting. I think this potentially is a good time to ask y'all if you have subjects that have worked for you. And if so, to throw those in the comments. I get emails from influencers all the time, and the subject lines are usually very honestly about what who this person is. Young influencer from London. And I'm like, okay, I'll read about that. I got an email the other day from an influencer from Iran. And she was like, Iranian influencer seeking advice. Now that is a very, informative subject line. That's very straight to the point, but I don't get a lot of emails from Iranian beauty bloggers. So it definitely piqued my interest, and I remember the email still to this day. So try and put your personality into it. Each email isn't that important in the grand scheme. You're testing things, you're seeing what works. Try new stuff. Try and be funny. Try a short one. Try a long one. Try emojis. Try misspelling something to make it seem like it was written off the cuff. Some things work for some people and they won't work for others. So just test it. But remember that subject line. The point is to try and get them to open that email. And listen, folks, it's a beautiful day. And I'm going to leave. I've had a long week. I celebrated my birthday 4 times, so I'm tired. So I'm going to go. Cheers.